What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me for this early Monday morning podcast is Luis Barranco. Luis, how you doing, man?
How we doing? It is week 4.5 in the books. Let's get have a cup of coffee right here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Got another week done in the books. You know, William's allergies are in full flow right now, as you guys can hear. You guys will hear. I mean, what a week it's been. I mean, how was your weekend, my guy? What have you been up to?
Good weekend. Pretty chill. It was nice in Chicago, so was able to get outside finally. Nice change of pace there. Didn't go to any baseball games. A lot of cleaning, some spring cleaning over the weekend. So got some things taken care of, and watched the Yankees. Of course, were off Saturday, so was able to get a lot done on Saturday, and then Sunday had the doubleheader, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it was a pretty chill weekend.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm glad to hear you got some spring cleaning. I know Chicago had some rain on Friday, but good weather yesterday, good weather on Saturday. Had some good day baseball too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cubs were on Sunday Night Baseball last night, so watched that one. Looked nice at Wrigley, even though it was a little chilly, but yeah. And it's supposed to be in the 80s today, so great weather.
Hey, I wish it was the 80s. It is an inferno down here in South Florida. I actually went to Game 3 of the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Miami Heat. It was as we call it, belt-ass scenario. It was a 30-point victory for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Typical Miami Heat fans showed up at second quarter and left before the fourth quarter started.
So, I didn't even know that series is still going on at this point. Did they even need to play the Game 4? I feel like it's done and dusted.
Hey, it's tonight. Game 4 is tonight. I bet you can get in for $20 tonight. Me and my buddy were sitting and we were falling asleep in the third quarter. We were like, why are we still here?
But it was empty. I mean, I saw you posted that story on your Instagram. It was it basically entirely empty. It's crazy for a playoff game.
I think the Miami Marlins have a better atmosphere this weekend.
Is there any team that people care about in Miami? Sports team?
They're like fair weather fans. I feel like they only care if they're like winning. That's the thing.
Yeah. And the Heat are in the playoffs. I mean, I know they have no aspirations to go anywhere, but they are in the playoffs.
I guarantee you there's going to be a better environment on Sunday for race day for F1.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure that's a once a year thing. So
between that and for Inter Miami games, like there's with Inter Miami like no other. Which
that's probably the hottest ticket in Miami.
Yeah, but it's going to be a mess next year because they're going to open in 26. They're going to open the new stadium right next to the airport. So,
oh geez,
it's going to be in like a 5-mile radius. We'll have Lone Depot, and you'll have Inter Miami. So.
Well, it's not like, let's be honest, it's not like Lone Depot is causing that much traffic. Yeah. Those games have like maybe 10,000 people there.
Hey, we'll talk about them later. They've been kind of been surging, Agustin Ramirez, but we are a baseball podcast, and today week 4.5 has been completed. So we are going to talk about, it's going to be a little different on today's podcast. We're not going to open up the podcast today with our typical Yankee talk. I think now with a month done of the season, we have enough data points, as William would like to say, and I would like to say, enough data to start analyzing and making some sort of conclusions off of the little bit that we've seen this season. So we're going to be buying or selling a couple topics that are burning topics in Major League Baseball. And so without further ado, we have hand-selected about 5 topics that we will talk about. William, is there anyone that you would like to start with today?
I feel like we should probably start with maybe the hottest team in the sport. Certainly, I mean, they have the best record in the sport. Some would call them the other team in New York, the Mets.
Oh, the team that ended up blowing 2 games off walk-off this weekend? That I got to watch this weekend?
That team. The New York Mets, our statement for them is the Mets will finish. It's basically, are you buying or selling, like Luis said? Are you buying or selling the fact that the Mets will finish with the best record in baseball this season? Currently, just for some perspective, they're 19-9, first in the National League East, and they have a half game lead over the Giants for the best record in the sport right now. Are you buying or selling that?
I'm completely selling them. Right now, the New York Mets have only played 9 games with teams over 500. Put that in comparison with the whole AL West. I feel like this is something I'm going to harp on later. But the AL West has played, for example, the Seattle Mariners have played 22 games. Texas has played 25 games. Oakland has played 16, and the Angels have played 15 games with teams over 500. The Yankees have played 16 games with over 500. The Braves, 16. Marlins, 18. The Chicago Cubs, their whole record is with teams over 500, and they're 17-12. So with that, I am completely selling this. I mean, yes, they have a plus 36 run differential, which puts them in the top 3 in the National League. But as we saw this weekend, they played an actual legitimate team in the Nationals, and they did struggle. I mean, I would like to see them play some actual competition. I don't believe in their pitching, that their pitching will sustain, this miraculous start. And I feel like they're going to be a team that's going to start well, but once we get into the dog days of the summer, they're going to regress down to the mean. I mean, Atlanta's playing good baseball right now. Philadelphia hasn't hit their stride yet. And the NL West is just a complete juggernaut. I mean, the only team that's a free win in the National League is the Colorado Rockies. And for that reason, I just don't think so. And I do their hitting isn't great. It's not like Juan Soto is hitting the cover out of the ball. He's already complaining, as we've talked about yesterday, not complaining, but making the comments, oh, I'm getting pitched differently. So of course you are. The only guy really going nuclear is Pete Alonso.
Yeah, I got to sell this one too. And it's a value play. You're not going to buy the Mets finishing with the best record as they sit with the best record in the sport after a month where, as you said, like the schedule has been pretty easy. They've played Miami twice already. They've played Minnesota for 3. They played St. Louis for 4, swept that series. They did beat Philly, but Philly's kind of so far this season. They did just win a series in Wrigley this weekend, which was good for them, of course. And then they lost this series this weekend against Washington, which was a really tough one, especially on Sunday, up 7-1, and then you blow it. You got Juan Soto dropping pop-ups in right field. They're a flawed team. They're not perfect. I think, you look at the lineup, and you mentioned Pete Alonso, who's going nuclear, but I think as you said too, like when you get to the dog days, when you go over the ups and downs of a 162 game season, like guys like Brandon Nimmo, they're going to be up and down. Or, guys in the bottom half of that lineup, like Jesse Winker, now Francisco Alvarez is back, Jeff McNeil, Tyrone Taylor, Luis Angel Acuna, Starling Marte, like all of those guys are going to come and go. So you're going to need this elite level production from Pete Alonso, from Juan Soto, from Lindor all season long. In theory, they have 3 MVP candidates, but those guys are probably more so fringe. Aside from Soto, I think is a legit MVP candidate every single year, but Lindor and Alonso are maybe more fringe MVP candidates. But either way, they need really strong production from them all season long. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that paired with, their hitting statistics as a team aren't super impressive so far this season. The rotation is interesting because I do think they can sustain the rotation success for the whole season, especially with Manaea and Montas coming back, at some point this season.
But when are they coming back? That's the whole point. It's my whole argument. It's just like when.
And that's true when it comes to this question that we're posing is them finishing with the best record. Every game counts. And now you have the question of the back end of the bullpen, Edwin Diaz.
Ryan Stanek was abysmal this weekend. I think it's a New York thing, and I'm sorry, but I think it's a New York thing not being able to cover first correctly, because that's the reason why they lost yesterday.
Yeah. And then Edwin Diaz is hurt, which is not great. And, he hasn't looked like himself this season. And, I think it might be safe. Like, I feel pretty comfortable in saying I think they can win the American League East or the National League East at this point. Because, yes, the Braves are playing better baseball, but they dug themselves a pretty big hole to start the season. The Phillies, like both of us, aren't super impressed with what we've seen from the Phillies so far this season. They kind of look old, and the bullpen's really bad. the Nationals are pesky, but they're not going to win the division. So I do think the Mets are probably going to win the East, but I don't think they'll finish with the best record in the National League this year. I think it'll probably be one of those teams from the West, or I mean, the Cubs could come out and surprise us, considering how tough the Cubs' schedule has been so far this season and what they've done.
So, but then my question is, do the Mets actually have 3 legitimate MVP candidates?
Right now, yes. Pete Alonso's in that conversation. I think Lindor, I mean, he finished top 5 in MVP voting last year. He was up there. And then Soto hasn't shown it yet, but he can finish in top 5.
Do you believe that they legitimately have 3 MVP candidates? Because
Yes.
I don't think there's only one.
So who's your National League MVP right now? Because Ohtani, I mean, sore subject for some, but Ohtani hasn't looked great.
Ohtani's been pretty pedestrian. I know I sent you a tweet this weekend with the statistics. I don't think he's in the hunt right now. I think it's Tatis is in the mix for 1. Paul Skeens is in the mix for 2.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's most valuable player. And then
Pete Alonso. True.
And Pete Alonso, that's your 3 right now. That's your top 3.
I mean, if you look at the odds, Ohtani's still favored, but it's Tatis and then Kyle Tucker, Corbin Carroll, Pete Alonso, Lindor are there, and Juan Soto. They just put the Mets three in a row there.
I would put Tucker and Carroll over Lindor and Soto. If my top 5 no order would be Tucker, Carroll, Alonso, Skeens, and Tatis. That's my 5.
I think that's fair.
That's what it is, and it's just like, you know, you're paying all these guys to hit, and they're not hitting at all. Like, what are you gonna do? And it's just like, can you rely upon Griffin Canning, Tyler Meagle, and Kodai Senga to give you these innings throughout the season? Like, are they like? I just don't see it working in the playoffs. I know I'm like, you can listen to old podcasts and I sound like the biggest Mets hater, but like, I just can't see it in a playoff scenario where Kodai Senga, Clay Holmes, and Tyler Meagle will win you a playoff series.
I worry. I mean, we haven't seen Clay Holmes as a starter for 162. Like, does he just hit a point, I don't know, 100 innings or something where he just breaks down and they have to move him back to the bullpen?
That's the same thing with Tyler Meagle. It's just like it's just like this is like the first season where he's looked like super genius. Like, yeah, the metrics look great, but it's just like it's 162.
Right.
Like, please, like I don't see it. And I don't see the pen working out. Like, talk about a pen that's been whatever. I'm in a point where, like, look, the Cubs are really good. The Phillies are going to be good, and the Braves are rebounding. You know, I just don't. It's just sorry, but yeah.
I mean, the safe bet is to just say no, and I think we're aligned there. And I really do believe that they won't finish with the best record in the National League.
Well, the thing is, do you believe the rotation? Honestly,
I honestly am at the point where once Manaea and Montas come back, which who knows when, but I do kind of think, yes, I do believe in the rotation because I don't know. They got David Stearns over there from Milwaukee. He's working whatever voodoo magic he's done in Milwaukee, brought it over to New York. It's working. I worry about the pen, like I just talked about. There's some names in there and some performances that just haven't been great. Ryan Stanek, you mentioned 2 blown games this weekend, but yeah, maybe Holmes slots back into the pen, but I think Kodai Senga is really good. Griffin Canning has been good, and Meagle's been good. So yes, I would say, yeah, I actually do believe in the rotation a little bit more than you do, and especially because you look at like the Dodgers, the rotation's thinning out already. Like some of these teams are competing against. It's kind of more consistent than a lot of their other rotations. Like Aaron Nola has been pretty bad for the Phillies this year.
I would take the Padres. I'd take Randy Vasquez over a lot of these guys.
Nick Pavetta's been great.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, okay, let's say the win division, and we're looking ahead a little bit. It's like you're probably going to throw Kodai up game 1, Griffin Canning game 2, and then it's a toss-up for Meagle or Clay Holmes on 3.
Well, Manaea, I think Manaea.
We don't know how Manaea is going to look.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the whole argument, and I know, like, we'll talk about this later with Heel. Like, okay, let's say Heel comes back in June. As much as we think Heel's going to come back to Rookie of the Year for him, and we expect it. It's tough to predict because one, these are major injuries. For example, Mania, I believe it's Mania's an oblique,
Yeah.
and whatchamacallit, not Senga, but
Montas is a lat.
Montas is a lat strain. You know how those lat strains can be very finicky. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez has a lat strain right now. Heel had a lat strain, and Clark Schmidt had a lat strain. It's very, very, finicky. So, like, I just don't see how that rotation can win in the playoffs.
Okay.
Think about it. No, just think about it. And, like, you've seen Frankie Montas pitch. Think about it. Have you seen Frankie Montas pitch for the Yankees?
Barely. He was hurt the whole time.
Yeah, but what do you think?
He's fine. I think he's past his prime. I think his prime was in Oakland for sure.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. With potential substances.
True. He got popped, right?
He got popped. He did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I think the only guy you can really rely upon is Kodai Senga, and is Kodai Senga a number one starter in the majors?
No, he's probably more of a 2.
He's more 2 or a 1B.
Yeah.
So unless they don't get a pitcher, and we'll see what happens with the lineup. So that's just my opinion.
That's enough Mets talk. Let's move to the American League. Let's stay in the other team, or let's stay in New York and go to the other team. Yankees, we'll get to the series recap a little bit later, but the buy or sell we have here is Aaron Judge will hit above 350 this season. So he's at 406. I was going to say 400, but that's just ridiculous. No one's going to hit 400 probably ever again, at least in this current era of baseball. But he's at 406 right now. Can he hit above 350 for the full season? Are you buying or selling that he will?
Well, Mr. Aaron Judge is on another planet, and I'm gonna be a little spicy here. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna buy it. So, just some stats. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday with Michael K yesterday on telecast. So last year, April 27th was the day that everything like clicked for Aaron Judge. If you remember, he was a little slow to start out the year last year. And so since then, you want to take a guess at Mr. Judge's batting average?
Since April 21st of last year?
27th of last year.
Mm-hmm. I think I remember hearing about this. It was like 340, something like that.
It's 364.
Jesus.
How many hits? 201 hits. How many home runs? 61.
61 home runs in a calendar year? Oh my goodness.
How many RBIs? 157. How many runs scored? 136. And guessing how many games since April 27th of 2024?
100. Does this count playoffs?
Don't think so. Not sure, but
I'll say 154.
156 games.
So wow, he's hitting really close.
He's hitting an RBI per game. Like, this guy is on a, like, I think, like, he doesn't get enough credit because Ohtani exists. But, like, have we ever seen a player with, like, a combination of power and just contact ability? Because it's hard in this day and age, because you see guys that, that are either big boppers and only hit nukes 400 foot plus and hit for crap average, aka Chris Davis, or you see a guy like Luis Arraez who hits 400 damn near and gets 2 home runs a calendar year. Like, when was the last time you saw a combination of this?
It's unprecedented. He's the best hitter. I've said it before. He's the best hitter I've seen. I've watched in my entire life. And the craziest thing with him this year is, obviously the average speaks to it, but he's turned into more of like, I mean, obviously he's still hitting the home runs. He's got 8, but he's also mixing in a lot of singles, and he's just kind of spraying the ball all over the field. He hits the ball so hard that, balls that would probably regularly be ground outs for most players are getting through just because of the exit velocities that he's putting up. And, average exit velo is 95.8, which is in the 99th percentile in the sport. So, that tells a story. He's barreling everything up. And the strikeout rate is at the lowest it's been in his career so far this season, 20%, which is in the 55th percentile. He's been, in the blues, 35, 16, 20, like 35th percentile, 16th percentile, 25th, and obviously had the huge strikeout problems when he first came up. So he's fixed that a little bit this year. The strikeouts, they're not as bad as they have been. Obviously, he's going to walk a ton. He's actually playing decent defense. He's got a 2 outs above average over there in right field this year. He's been incredible. I don't know. I mean, you worry that maybe like when he's not going, the Yankees are going to really struggle. And you can say that about anybody that's hitting what he's doing. Any team would always root for him to be up at the plate. But I'll say, yeah, I'll buy that. I think he can hit above 350, which is just crazy to think. It's, last year he started off so cold and he still finished with 58 home runs. He's cooled off the past couple of weeks in terms of homers, but 8 home runs through the first month. I think we're probably going to look at 50 plus again. If he can hit 55 home runs and hit 3 in the 300s, 330 plus, I mean, easy MVP. I think he's the runaway favorite right now for the MVP. I think I was looking at the odds for MVP. He's minus 600 on FanDuel to win the American League MVP. Like, assuming he just stays healthy, he's probably got the thing locked up already in through the first month.
So let me give you a question right here. In the last calendar year, you want to know Aaron WAR entering last Friday. You know what his WAR was in the last calendar year?
6?
13.7.
On what website does it say?
This is Fangraphs.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Where would that rank historically in MLB?
All time, like calendar year WAR accumulated?
Yeah.
Is it number 1?
It'd be number 2.
Oh gosh, behind Bonds or something?
No, behind Ruth. It's tied for number 2 with Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth, all-time Fangraphs WAR since 1901 was 14.7 in 1923. The only other person to have a year like Judge is having was in 1921, where Babe Ruth posted a 13.7 wins above replacement. The closest player in like our lifetime is Barry Bonds in 2002 and 2001, where they posted 12.7 and 12.5 respectively. Like, we've never seen this. Like,
yeah, it's unprecedented.
Watching him even when he and I'm not to like I think the listeners are gonna be like, oh god, these are some Yankee glaciers. But like, even like yesterday, I was watching the game, and I've seen a lot of Yankee games this year. When he doesn't square up a ball or barrel it, it's very it's that he just misses timing. It's not like he's whiffing and just like missing a pitch completely. And it's very rare. Like yesterday, he was struck out by Gosman, where he actually stared at 3 straight fastballs, which it was even a surprise. But it's just when he misses, it's not like he's missing a Javi Baez miss where he's just completely fooled this season.
Mm-hmm. And we used to see that from him early in his career. It was the breaking stuff, low and away. He just golf at it and strike out. And now, he's eliminated that from his game. And it's been like that for the past few seasons, but this year he's just obviously been more locked in from a contact perspective, and he's really not swinging and missing all that much at all. His whiff rate is, it's 30%, 21st percentile, so not great. But it's better than where it's been. He's been lower, much lower than that. For last year, he was in the 15th percentile. In 2023, he was in the 2nd percentile in whiff rate. So he's improved that a little bit, which has been fun to see.
He just has to stay healthy. That's just my biggest thing. Keep him healthy, and it's father time is coming. It's coming soon. He is 33. That's my only concern this season. It's just the Yankee season and my fantasy baseball season hang on Aaron Judge. If our fantasy baseball league had wins above replacement per player, I think Aaron Judge would be tops, because he's holding my team.
Tops, yeah. You picked him in the pick before me, and then I ended up with Jose Ramirez, who's been great, but not Aaron Judge levels. And Armand had the number 1 overall pick, and he went with Ohtani, and Ohtani's been pedestrian so far this season.
I was about to draft Bobby Witt because I predicted Bobby Witt MVP, but thank God I did not. Thank God I got Judge.
Witt's been great too, though.
But he's not Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge is like Aaron Judge is one of those players that we're going to talk about. Like we're like, think about it. We're like, as sports fans, I think we're in like a generation right now that when we have children or grandchildren that like, oh, you lived in an era with like LeBron James and Aaron Judge.
Two greats. Yeah.
Two great. It's just like, and then Alexander Ovechkin, like when have we seen this many like generational, like, and I'm not throwing generational out there, but like generational, like stars that like have had one longevity and that have had like production to the level of these guys. Like people are completely discounting the production levels of Aaron Judge. It's like, oh yeah, Ohtani. Yeah, we get it. Like he does both, but like we haven't seen a season like Aaron Judge.
And we haven't seen Ohtani pitch in a couple of years at this point. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know it's taboo to talk down on the Dodgers and Ohtani, but he hasn't pitched in a while.
Hey, man.
Next one. The Detroit Tigers will finish with the best record in the American League. Are you buying or selling?
I'm selling it for the fact that I feel like that the Tigers have a really hot start, and I feel like their pitching is really on board. I just don't think they're going to have enough hitting comparative to the other teams. And I feel like they're still relatively young comparison to other teams. I want to see them play against like a Boston. I want to see them play against Toronto. I think Boston really would stretch them thin because they're like Boston, that Boston lineup. Yes, they do commit a lot of errors defensively, but they do put up runs in a heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to see them do that. And, you know, I'm going to give Detroit flowers. They've been a really good ball club this year. Like, I mean, they're 13-3 at home. They defend to home field, but on the road, they're only 5-7. Like, I do see them being a good team. It's just, can they do it against better teams? Plus 42 run differential is great. But again, you are playing a lot of those games at the friendly confines that are Comerica Park, and it's cold. And you know how cold Comerica can be. Let's put it at 80 degrees in New York or 80 degrees in Boston and see how they perform. So I'm definitely going to be selling this. I am a fan of what the Tigers are doing. I mean, Torkelson just hit his 8th home run. Torkelson didn't hit his 8th home run till like the second half of the season last year. Like, talk about an improvement. Gleyber Torres has been a great pickup for them as he's been hitting the ball pretty well. And, you know, they got Javi Baez to buy in to play center field.
Yeah.
This is all without Riley Green not hitting a stride yet, which once he does, I feel like that team's going to get better. But are they best team, best record in the AL? I don't think so. Great rotation, but let's see how they fare against juggernaut offenses that are the Red Sox, even the A's. I want to see how the A's would play. Because I feel like people don't discount the A's a lot, but man, that offense is legitimate.
Yeah, so they're 18-10. They are first in the American League right now, a game ahead of the Yankees. The Yankees and Tigers have kind of been going back and forth for the first place in that league so far this year. I think I'm gonna sell it too, because I think honestly, I think the Red Sox or the Yankees are probably gonna do it. The Red Sox haven't fully hit their stride yet, but they're still 16-14, 3 games back of the best record in the American League. I do think it's going to be pretty close in this race all season because I just don't think any team has the talent to fully separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And for being honest, like none of these teams are, you know, that great. So it's kind of just a battle. They're going to battle against each other all year. And hey, you even got Seattle right now, 16-12. They're 3rd place in the American League. I think the key point is, and we talked about the pitching in the last episode. I think it's the hitting that's just maybe not going to be there for the whole season. I mean, Zach McKinstry is hitting 321 so far with a 902 OPS. He's been very good for them through 26 games. That he's played 26 games. Riley Green, he's hitting 224. So they just haven't had the production from Riley Green yet. Spencer Torkelson's really been carrying the offense for them. Kerry Carpenter, he's been solid, 5 home runs, second on the team. Trey Sweeney, he's struggled at shortstop this year. Javi Baez, got to give him credit. He's hitting 301. So it's kind of been a renaissance season from him, a resurgent season, but the pitching is going to carry them. It's going to keep them. I think they're going to run away with the Central because I just think they're better than the Guardians. But I don't think they're quite good enough offensively to finish best in the American League. I will say, I think they have one of the better managers in the league, Cora in Boston and Hinch in Detroit. It'd be kind of funny if those two go up against each other in a playoff series this year. Yeah. But I do think they have two of the best, one of the best managers in the American League, which could help them.
I'll go out and say this and do a hot take. I think the Central will be one of the first divisions decided. They're going to be like, how, on election night, how those like states that lock up at 6 o'clock in 10 minutes, like I feel like that's going to be like Detroit. I feel like Detroit will be one of those first teams to do so. I mean, they just need a couple series wins against the Guardians. And I mean, they'll be going back and forth, to be honest. Like if you were to get the Guardians lineup and the Tigers pitching, I think you have a World Series contender.
Yeah, I saw it firsthand this week. The Guardians lineup is really, really pesky. The Tigers have a West Coast swing this week and early next. They go 3 in Houston, 4 in Los Angeles against the Angels, and then 3 in Colorado. So, I mean, look for them to take care of Colorado. You got Skubal on the mound in Colorado next Thursday, which should be interesting. But
they'll take care of all 3 series. I'm taking Houston. I'm taking the 1, 2 out of 3. Is it 4 in Houston or 3 in Houston?
3 in Houston this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
They could sweep. They could sweep that because Hunter Brown pitched yesterday, and Framber. I don't think they get Framber, and if they do get Framber, it'll be either the second or the third game.
They don't get Framber, no.
They're not going to get Framber, so they'll win. They'll sweep that probably. Sweep or 2 out of 3. They'll sweep Colorado, and then the Angels have just been terrible. So yeah, we could be coming back in a week and a half saying that the Tigers are like 9 out of their last 10 wins. Like, this should be like the way we define good teams in Major League Baseball is like great teams. You got to take care of the bottom feeders. You have to take care of these teams that stink because that's how you win divisions. That's the difference between wild card winners and division winners.
Yeah, you got to take care of the bad teams. And they had a great week. They won 2 out of 3 against San Diego and then swept Baltimore, which I think Baltimore is just going to be one of those teams that you got to look to win 2 out of 3 or sweep every single time. I think that's a good transition into our next one.
And you got to get Baltimore now. Like, I feel like Baltimore is one of those teams that you got to they're like a cockroach. You should step on them now before they relive and they get stronger. You got to kill them now, because they could be one of those teams in the second half that just randomly just gets hot and they're just going to be a mess to play around. So, like, make sure you get those wins against Baltimore when their pitching staff is garbage. Kill them now. Make sure they're not in contention and they just go for a reboot year. They've had a tough year, so.
Yep, let's keep it in the Central now for the next one. The Cubs are going to run away with the National League Central, and with that, their offense is legit. Are you buying or selling?
Can we just stop talking about the Cubs? Like, I feel like we always talk about the Cubs weekly. Like, there's nothing new. They're a good team, yeah. But and they're gonna win division, so I am buying it. I mean, I don't believe in the Reds. I mean, the Brewers have been up and down. I think that's their biggest comp, the Brewers. But like, man, the Cubs their whole schedule is against teams over 500. I think the only thing that they need is pitching. I mean,
that's clear, yeah.
They got to pay Tucker at this point. And if they don't pay Tucker, like, congratulations, which that would be such a Chicago thing for you guys just to let him walk at the end of the season.
You guys, I'm not a Cubs fan. Don't you guys me for that.
Hey, you do live there. You are a resident. So you are a part of that, protection.
True. So I think they'll run away with the division. I don't know if I'm buying that their offense is this good. I think you look at 2 key guys in that lineup that I just don't see it. One.
Let me guess.
Okay.
Carson Kelly, the catcher.
Well, that I don't think is going to sustain, but they got Amaya. No, I wasn't thinking those guys.
My PCA.
No, I'm all in on PCA.
So what is it? You're going to be betting on Michael Bush, you know?
No, the guys that I don't trust right now
Okay.
are Dansby Swanson.
Of course.
I mean, he's hitting 181. Like he looks like a shell of himself. 181, only 4 home runs on the season, 577 OPS. If you look at his Savant page, it's just a bunch of blue, striking out 30% of the time, really bad whiff rate. He doesn't walk. He's playing okay defense right now. Like, what is going on with him? That's a concern. The Cubs are paying him a ton of money. He's their highest paid player, and he just hasn't been good. I think you need to move him down in the lineup at this point. I'd rather have PCA hitting above Dansby Swanson. And the other guy is whatever the hell they're doing at third base, John Beardy, because they just sent down Matt Shaw. John Beardy, the game I went to on Wednesday, he struck out 4 times. And then they got Vidal Brujan there as well. They're kind of platooning at third base. So those are 2 positions that I'm like, Cubs kind of need to figure that out. I mean, Dansby's obviously going to stay, and just they hope he figures it out. And then third base, I think they got to upgrade there, which is tough because we've talked about this. The Yankees need a third baseman. There's a lot of teams that kind of need third baseman, and the market is thin. And it's not like the Cardinals are going to trade Nolan Arenado to the Cubs. Like, that's just, it's a non-starter. So they got to figure that out. They're going to need Kyle Tucker to carry this offense over the course of the full season, because I think some of these other guys are going to be up and down, whereas Kyle Tucker is the one guy you can expect to be consistent for the whole season. So I don't know if I'm buying that their offense is this good. I don't think it's the best offense in the sport. I do think they'll run away with the Central because this division is not very good. You got the Reds in second place right now, who they've won 4 straight. Good for them.
Yeah, but who did the Reds just play? Come on. Can you please preface who did the Reds just play this weekend?
They played the Rockies, and then and before that they played the Marlins. So they had a pretty easy week.
And they still lost the Marlins series.
They did, yes. So I just don't know if they'll be there. Milwaukee, I mean, their whole pitching staff is injured. I don't think they'll be there. The Cardinals are falling off already, and the Pirates are falling off. So they'll win the division. I don't know if they're going to get a bye in the National League, but if the offense stays hot, they could. If the NL West just kind of cannibalizes itself, but there's some more. I don't know. I think it's a really good start. It's a really hot start for them. They beat good teams, but at the end of the day, it's not how you're playing in April. It's how you're playing over the course of the full season. You got to put 4, 5, 6 months together of playing really good baseball to finish with the best record in the National League. I think they'll run away with the Central. We'll see about their offense.
Will they spend is the question.
And will they spend? Will they re-sign Tucker? Will they go out and trade for some arms? Go out and trade for a third baseman? Like they got some moves to make if they want to be serious about this thing this year.
Yeah. Next one we got. Will Oneil Cruz go 40-40? He's currently at 8 homers and 12 stolen bases through 26 games. I mean, just law of average of just looking at the numbers right now and extrapolating, I do believe he will do it. I mean, the Pirates are dog water, so I do think he will hit it. I mean, they do run the bases. At one point, IKF was top 10 in stolen bases in Major League Baseball, which is probably a surprise to you as how it was with the Yankees.
Yeah, I think Oneil Cruz will do it. He'll get the 40 stolen bases easily. He's already got 12. He's looked much better at the plate this year. The K rate is down, which is great. His walk rate is up, which is obviously what you're looking for. The sprint speed's there. So he's, like I said, he's going to get the stolen bases. 40 home runs is a lot. So I'm actually going to sell this. I think he's going to finish with above 40 stolen bases, but in the 30s for home runs. I'm happy for him, though. This is kind of the first season he's, really putting it together. Last year, he finished with 21 home runs, 22 stolen bases, hit 259. So pretty solid season. He's at 258 right now. So kind of pacing similar, obviously more home runs, and more stolen bases, but could cool off. It was a really hot month for him. But I'm happy for him because I do think the talent is there. And he's still young. He's only 26. It's just a matter of him putting it together. And it seems like he's putting it together this season.
There's an effort thing. I mean, we talked about the defense and the effort. That's going to be something to look at and see what happens. I mean, Pirates are interesting, man. Very interesting team.
They're interesting because they have the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the sport, and it seems like they don't really invest enough to try to build a winner around him. So, yeah, I don't know. They should be better than they are. I think. I think their fan base deserves better.
Next one we got, and the final one, the AL Cy Young race is open. I'm going to sell this. I think this is 3 or 4 horse race right now, like the NL. There's a lot of guys that have been performing, but Hunter Brown is definitely in the race. Max Fried, I think Max Fried doesn't get enough attention on how the season he has. I mean, we talked about it last week. He doesn't get the strikeouts, but aside from yesterday's one run, which you can attribute to Oswaldo Cabrera's error, like he went another start with no runs given up. Like he was very strong. He goes deep into game 6 to 7, and he also calls his own game. So I think like we need to keep in mind that should be something that should be taken into consideration. And you have Skubal and Garrett Crochet with Cole Reagans in the mix. That's the 5. One of those 5 is going to win. I'll put money on one of those 5, in my opinion.
So you don't think it's wide open?
I know. I think it's a 5-horse race. I don't see DeGrom coming up. I don't see any of the other guys Framberg coming up. I feel like it's those 5. I mean, Logan Gilbert's hurt. There's nobody that can come in the mix.
To me, that sounds like a wide open race.
5 horses.
Yeah.
That's less than the Kentucky Derby. Like the Kentucky Derby is this weekend, I know. So yeah, but in the Kentucky Derby, how many horses is it? 15 or 20? It's only 5.
Yeah, the guy. I mean, a name you didn't mention, Tyler Mahle. He's leading the American League in ERA right now, 1.1.
He won't win it.
He won't win the Cy Young, but he's maybe in the conversation right now through a month. Hunter Brown, Max Fried, Crochet, Skubal, maybe Shane Baz, maybe Casey Mize, maybe Evaldi. I think it's wide open right now. I think any of these guys can come in and take it.
I think you could put Cole Reagans, but I think he won't win it because Kansas City's just so dog water this year. So I think it's only 14. So let's put 4. One of those 4.
What about Carlos Rodon?
Stop. If you mention Carlos Rodon in a Cy Young race, Carlos Rodon, like I might be the most anti-Rodon guy. Like everybody, like I have a buddy of mine from college. He lives up in the Pennsylvania area. He's from upstate New York. He's from Rochester, and he literally texted me the other day. We haven't talked in a while, but we've been talking more recently because he's had more time on his hands, and he's also a Yankee fan. And he literally texts me after every Rodon start, and he's like, "Rodon?" ? And I'm like, "It's my stuff is still in drafts. It is all in my drafts."
His last 2 starts have been really good.
Yeah, but what has Max Fried done?
I know. Max Fried has obviously been our best pitcher, but Carlos Rodon's been a nice number 2. He's going Tuesday in Baltimore. I will obviously be watching, excited for that one. And then he also goes next Monday. He's pitching against the Padres. Michael King versus Carlos Rodon next Monday right now is what it's slated up to be.
Not wait for Tuesday's start because I just feel it's going to be 5 innings, 3 earned, 8 strikeouts.
Well, that's a win for the Yankees because the Orioles can't pitch, so it sounds like we're scoring 10 runs.
Yeah, but then the Yankees won't score 10 runs. I think like it was kind of like, this is a perfect segue. Let's talk about the Yankees week, okay? Yeah. Now that we're done with buy or sell, what I think the people want to always start the podcast and listen to is, the Yankees report of the week. I mean, we have our resident Yankee fan aficionado, William, who watches every game, and we review the week that was for the New York Yankees. So this week, the Yankees played 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, I predicted that they would 2 out of 3 this weekend.
I think that's what you predicted, yeah.
2 out of 3, and they did win 2 out of 3 this weekend. On Friday, I did not watch the game, but I know William was. Where was I Friday? Friday, I was at an event, a work event that night, and my phone was getting blown up like no other. The Yankees lost. Devin Williams blew it in the 9th. Sunday, and they had a doubleheader since they did not play on Saturday. Could have been that they were waiting for Shadur Sanders to get drafted on Saturday. At this point, what happens first? Shadur Sanders starts or Devin Williams gets the closer job back? I think is the biggest question we'll have soon on this podcast. But But on Sunday, the Yankees played a doubleheader and won both games. The first game, the offense went nuclear as they forced Kevin Gosman into a 45 to 50 pitch inning where Austin Wells blew it open with the bases clearing double. And then in the second game, the Yankees had a really nice performance where Schmidt was very solid. Judge went yard, and JC Escarra hit his first home run. And then I think the biggest thing that we can talk about is the bullpen. So without further ado, William, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Mr. Devin Williams. I think Yankee fans are very frustrated about the whole Devin Williams situation. So
Yeah.
without further ado, the floor is yours.
I mean, what is there to say? It hasn't been good enough this year. We saw it in the first game of the season where he almost blew the game against Milwaukee. Then we saw it in Detroit where he gave up 3 earned. He was shaky. I mean, I guess it counts as a loss, but the Pittsburgh game, he came in the extra innings in the 11th and gave up the game-winning hit, and then had a decent run there for his next 4 outings. But then the last 2 were terrible, blowing the game against Tampa Bay last Saturday and then blowing it Friday night. Friday night was painful. I mean, you're going up into the 9th inning, up 2-1 or whatever it was, and you're feeling good, and then he blew it. He looked terrible. His stuff hasn't been there. He's acknowledged that himself. He doesn't feel like his stuff has been there this year. He's struggling. So, on the season, he's got an 11.25 ERA, a guy that has, been one of the best closers in the sport. But when you have a guy in Luke Weaver who's been lights out this season, I think it's an easy decision. I'm glad Boone kind of took the initiative and went out and just did it right away, ripped the Band-Aid off right away. And we've seen this across baseball this year. Like Clase lost the closing job in Cleveland. They got him running the 8th inning. I'm interested to see what the Yankees do and where they put Devin Williams moving forward, because last night in the second game of the doubleheader, they went Cruz for the 8th inning instead of Devin Williams. Like, is Williams not even going to be the setup guy? Are they going to put him in really low leverage situations just to get his confidence back moving forward? Or are they going to stick him in as the 8th inning guy? That I think is going to be interesting to see. We'll see, what happens. Maybe the opportunity arises in the Orioles series this week. But yeah, I think it's the right decision. I mean, you got this guy in Weaver that's just been dominant, lights out. And you just, sometimes in baseball, in sports, you just got to make tough decisions. And I think this is the right one.
I would have liked to have seen Devin Williams pitch yesterday in the first game where it was a complete blowout, where it was like a 10-run game. I would have liked to see him because, I mean, at least like if he gives up runs, like he does have 10 runs to give up. Like he's not going to give up 10 runs, if you know what I mean. Like he has a buffer. And like my question to you, I mean, you've watched Devin Williams. I know we talk about the home run that he gave up against Pete Alonso in the playoffs off that changeup, that he hasn't been the same pitcher. So is it a psychological thing, or is it, something mechanically that you've seen with his arm angle, release point? I mean, one of the biggest things is like the fastball has kind of been erratic, and I've seen that too, that the fastball has been very erratic. So is it an arm angle? Is it a release point? What have you seen from your, like, without going to detail, into a Substack article level of detail? Like,
I think it's a combination of confidence and stuff. I don't think it has to do with arm angle and whatever. I think it's when you're a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball and the change, if one of those pitches isn't working, you're in trouble. Like, you have to be dialed in with both pitches at all times, every single outing, because there's nothing else you can go to. And he just hasn't been there with the changeup or with the fastball this year. He's struggling to throw strikes with both. And, I think that's kind of what's contributing to, I think what's contributing to his struggles this season. If you look at the changeup this season, hitters are hitting 273 against it, which is not bad, but not good. I mean, from a considering how good that pitch is for him, that's just not where he needs to be. And the fastball, hitters are hitting 462 against Devin Williams' fastball this year. That's crazy. It's a location thing, it's a confidence thing, and he just hasn't been able to get it going with the stuff. And I had to make the decision.
Yeah, I mean, We're up to 6 games now in the Yankees season, which I think by the end of the month we'll be releasing how many games have the Yankees blown this year?
How
That
many
would be
games? How many games did you come out of thinking, "Damn, we should have won that game"? We're up to 6.
We're up to 6 with dated, so we're up to 6, and so if you add those 6 games, say you go 50% those games, you have a 5-game lead on Boston without playing Boston.
This is every single game matters. When you're chasing a division, when you're chasing the best record in the American League, every single game. I know 162 games, it feels like none of them matter for maybe the more casual fan, but when you trust me, you gotta win these games that are 50-50 games, you gotta win them. If you fall down 10-0 early, okay, you can punt the game and maybe run out some low leverage relievers for the rest of it. But when in these games that are close and tight, you got to win them. The Yankees had an 89. I just had it up on ESPN
Win
in
probability.
the win probability heading into the ninth inning on Friday night was 89.8. So 90%.
Yeah. There's just like games like you have no chance of winning. And I know we're going to talk about this the whole season, but the game, for example, that Friday night game where Stroman just went, bonkers in the first inning, like that game was like pretty much it was a TV off after the second inning. Like you could have turned the TV off, gone had a date night with your girlfriend, gone out seeing the family, go turn on the grill type of vibes night because it was over after inning number 2. And that's how I kind of felt yesterday was going to go. But, what I did like about the offense yesterday, and I don't think nobody's really giving them credit, is how in that third inning where Gosman had that 45 to 50 pitch inning, they worked counts like that. Austin Wells AB, they were like he was fighting off pitches, working up the pitch count. Like I feel like that's when the offense is at its like finest. And if you're able to work the pitch count and get more pitches out of your starter, I mean, we've seen a lot of announcers say pitchers are only really designed to throw 15 to 20 pitches per inning. If you're able to get them up higher, and higher, like getting into the bullpen, I mean, I would take my chances going at bullpen guys than a legitimate ace.
Yeah.
So matter if when the Yankees lineup is on like it was yesterday, where they're like fighting off ABs and everything, even Cody Bellinger for as bad as the years he's had so far, like he had a great AB fighting off pitches, just staying alive, and then he ended up getting a sacrifice fly, which was critical at the end of the day to win the game. So when you look at the lineup in general, and I brought this up, I mean, we always talk about third base replacement because, the whole Waldo thing. I feel like if there's two things where the Yankees can improve, it's third base defense with Waldo, which is something we have to talk about after what happened Friday, and it happened yesterday in the first game, and base running. I feel like the Yankees are a below average base running team. And I feel like a lot of times when the Yankees aren't mashing, as we would say, they can't manufacture runs running the base pass, stealing bases, just getting some speed on. And I feel Milwaukee really does a good job about that. I mean, Milwaukee may not be the most talented team, like hitting wise, but when they get on the bases, like they have so many guys that can wreak havoc. You have Sal Frelick, you have Christian Yelich, Bryce Terang, Joey Ortiz. Those are above average athletes that will steal bases and get around the base passes pretty fast.
Yeah, when you look at the Yankees and like just go through the lineup, guys that can run, guys that can't run. Let's go through the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. You had Ben Rice leading off, not a plus runner. Aaron Judge, not a plus runner. Cody Bellinger, I think he's a pretty good runner. I think they should utilize him more on the base pass than they do. He only has 3 stolen bases on the season.
There should be an asterisk on him, though, in my opinion, with Bellinger.
Why?
He is getting up there in age, for one, and two, like he does seem a little. I don't know. He doesn't look right at the plate. Like I don't see his just doesn't look right. Is he hurt? And,
he's got a stiff back he's been dealing with this year.
He does have an injury history with the shoulder and anything. I don't know if you want him running.
Okay. Goldschmidt, minus runner. But he's been our second best player this season, so at least offensively. Jazz, I think he's a plus runner. Volpe, plus runner. Wells, no. Dominguez, no, neutral.
Average.
And Oswaldo, maybe a tick above average. And then, so it's not the best base running team. They did improve the defense, but they didn't improve the base running. Do you go out and get a stolen base threat? Like they could have picked up Esterio Ruiz to be that guy, come in, pinch runner. The interesting point, we were texting about this weekend, is if the Yankees, because we do think they need to upgrade at third base from Oswaldo, but if they make a trade for a Nolan Arenado, let's say, and you put him at third base, you are losing a base runner. You are downgrading in a base running. You are downgrading in base running, and that's a spot that the Yankees are kind of weak in. Do you want? Is that a trade-off you want to make? I think yes, because of how subpar the third base defense has been so far this season. I think Oswaldo already has 4 throwing errors on the season this year already. It's a give and take. And we know, we talk about this all the time. Base running is something that can determine games in the playoffs, can determine a win, and it can determine a loss. So I don't know. Is that a change you want to make?
I don't know, and that's the point I made in the chat. Like, if you do get an Arenado, okay, you're increasing your defense, but base running, you go down. Do you do that? I don't know. I really don't know if you go out and do that. I mean, let's talk about it. Saturday on Friday's game, what contributed to the loss?
What contributed to Devin Williams in the end?
What happened first? We're going to do the chicken and the egg debate.
What happened first?
There was an error.
Yeah. By Oswaldo.
Okay, so there you go. There's an error by Oswaldo. And that's the biggest thing. There was an error by Oswaldo.
It didn't go down as an error.
But still.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not great. You do want to increase the defense. And so when you look at the ninth inning, what happened in the ninth inning of the whatchamacallit of the Tampa game?
Error.
Yes. There was an error. Caballero was safe as a throwing error in the bottom of the ninth. And it was a throwing error by Oswaldo. So 2 other losses this year, right now, the last 2 weeks, Oswaldo throwing errors have been contributed to the start of the demise.
Yeah. It's a weakness.
And the thing is, if you get Arenado, do you want to take on that money?
Right. And I think, it's a decision the front office is going to have to make. I do think it's going to be interesting to watch how American League front offices think this year. Do they think, hey, we really have to go and upgrade in this one area that we're maybe a little bit weak in, or can we kind of get away with it because the American League isn't as good this year? Like we can get away with winning our division, get away with winning our league with 93 wins. We don't need to push for 100 to get home field advantage this year because of the league is weak compared to the National League this year. So do teams maybe take it a little bit easy in the American League and say, we'll pass this year. We'll keep with what we have. We don't want to give up the prospects, whatever. Or do they say, no, we're really going to go for this. We're going to be aggressive and we're going to go out and try to win the American League by 5 games or something. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to follow this year.
And I got 4 questions for you.
4, okay.
To close out the segment. Luke Weaver, is shut down. Do you open the door up for Devin Williams getting the job back?
Yes, the door is still open.
Even if Luke Weaver is shut down?
If Luke Weaver shut down, no, the door is not open. Okay,
that's one. So you do see if it's at the deadline, would you consider moving Devin Williams?
Who?
Let's say I know Ryan Helsley's available. Say in Arizona, they say Arizona and Philadelphia are interested in Ryan Helsley. Would you consider trading him to an Arizona or a Philadelphia?
Yeah, I did see that there were a couple teams interested in Helsley this weekend. I think yes, I would be open to trading Williams this trade deadline because obviously he's a free agent. You want to get something in return. There's teams that would want him, and you got Fernando Cruz. I think it can be a setup guy for the Yankees.
say you move him, you get some prospects, and you find another like arm, maybe another lefty to add to the pen.
Yeah, they just got Matzik. He pitched for the first time yesterday in the first game of the doubleheader.
But you are righty heavy.
It is still righty heavy. I'd be curious to see what you can get for Williams. I want to see them build up his trade value before that, obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
they need to do their due diligence. I think it wouldn't be smart to not shop him a little bit.
Yeah. And now, would you rather, with how the team is constructed now, would you rather get a starting pitcher or a third baseman, a right-handed third baseman back?
Starting pitcher for sure. I think that's an easy call.
Now, how confident are you in the staff after this weekend? Like, they've been pitching lights out, the starting pitcher. After like a tough weekend in Tampa where there wasn't a lot of length, they got a lot of length. And so what is your thought?
Schmidt's start, I think, was encouraging. He had the 4 walks, which weren't great, but he still went 5 and only gave up 1. Fried, yes, feel great about him. Rodon, give me another start or 2. And then Carrasco has been pretty good his last 2 starts, but I still am not at the point where I fully trust him. But I don't think he's going to be in the equation at the end of the year anyway. Right now, confidence level 1 to 10, I'd say 6 still, because I do feel like at some point they're just going to break. Yeah. Not like last year, the rotation got off to a really hot start and then faltered in the middle of the season. So we'll see. I'm still not fully sold on the rotation. I think they need upgrades. Luis Gil, I think he's throwing now, so that's good news.
He threw yesterday. It was the first day he was back, and he threw a catch session in the outfield before the game yesterday.
So we need him back, and would love to go out and make a trade for another starter.
I think if you get another like 1-2 type of guy, you don't need to get a Sandy. You don't need a Sandy. You need like a little like number 2 starter to put in right between Rodon and Fried. If you can get like a Michael King would work so beautifully for this team. Like as a 2-3 guy, like would work so beautifully.
There's some names out there. I don't think the Padres are going to be trading.
Well,
do you look to Minnesota? There are some names in Minnesota that, I think that team's going to be selling this year.
Pablo Lopez, but I think the Pablo Lopez price is going to be pretty high.
Pretty steep. What about Joe Ryan?
He's too young. I think he's one for the future for them.
The Twins did get Pablo Lopez for Luis Arraez straight up 1-for-1 back a couple of years ago.
Hey, who knows? I mean, somebody did make a point that, the Yankee prospects get a lot of flack in the media because they think that there's like the Yankee tax that, they're boosted. But like Agustin Ramirez, man, talk about it.
Yeah, you picked him up in fantasy before I could get to him. He's going nuclear. 2 home runs yesterday for the Marlins. I mean, it's been a week since he's been up, but he's looked really nice. So
before we close out the Yankee segment, I want to give you some statistics. The Yankees bullpen ERA is 3.34, which ranks 9th in Major League Baseball. Devin Williams' ERA is 11.25 with 10 earned runs in 8 innings. If you remove the run bender out of the ERA equation, the ERA for the bullpen is now 2.63 with 26 earned runs in 89 innings.
Yeah, that's elite.
Yeah,
I feel really confident about the bullpen right now, except Williams.
So yeah, I look. My opinion is you try to move him at the deadline. I mean, I think the move is you move him at the deadline, get some prospects back that you can flip or just load the farm system up. You can never have too many prospects, and you find a reliever, a lefty reliever in the trade deadline. Yes, the price probably is steep for a lefty reliever, but you get one more balance. And I think Luke Weaver's the starter. He was a starter for, like Michael Kay said, he was the starter for a World Series winning team. You did like the whole plan for the Yankees and Cashman.
Closer, you mean?
Yeah. The plan was to have this, shut down bullpen, shut down 9th inning guy, but he's not doing that. So I think, if you're not going to pay him in the offseason what he's going to want, I think it's time to cut ties. And I mean, yes, it was Caleb Durbin and Nestor Cortez, but Nestor Cortez's physicals were all over the place, and it's only really Caleb Durbin.
Yeah, I think Nestor was kind of at the end of his run with the Yankees. And Durbin, yeah, that was the real thing you gave up there. But we already are set at second base, I think, with Jazz. Even though he's been struggling, it's not like Caleb Durbin was going to start at second over Jazz this year.
Or shortstop. I mean, Volpe's I think Volpe would need to get committed with, he would need to be charged with, murder or, some type of heinous crime for him to get benched. Like at this point,
He's a really good defender. I mean, I'll give him that. He's a good defender.
And a post base runner. So
Post base runner, yeah.
it would be nice if he could be the leadoff guy. If he could develop in his bat to be a leadoff guy. But hey,
yeah, agreed. Alrighty. You got anything else on some of the series this weekend before we get out?
Yeah, there's a couple notes I made for these series recaps. Pittsburgh, LA, you had the battle of Yamamoto Skeens. Dodgers won 2 out of 3. Glasnow's on the left yesterday's start with shoulder discomfort. Rays on a 5-game winning streak. They won the series in San Diego and Arizona. The Padres have now lost 8 out of 11.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle won 2 out of 3 versus Miami. Logan Gilbert's on the IL with the right flexor strain. He left to start this weekend. Don't look away now. They've won 6 straight series wins and are now first place in the AL West. And they're the only team in the AL to have a winning record versus teams over 500. Eugenio Suarez went nuclear for 4 homers versus Arizona, but Atlanta won the series. Colorado's are 4-23, losing 14 out of their last 15. They got swept by Cincy.
They pushed in the White Sox of last year.
Yeah, I mean, crap. Milwaukee, St. Louis. St. Louis got right, winning 2 out of 3. Mason Wynn is hitting .405 in his last 37 ABs. After his first 20, he didn't get a hit. Matthew Liberatore is first in walks per 9 in front of Evaldi, Skeens, and Joe Ryan. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Baltimore, 3rd worst record in Major League Baseball. We talked about how Detroit's been pretty good. Boston's really good, but they lead the league in errors. They won the series against Cleveland, Houston, and Kansas City. Royals won the series, winning 2 out of 3. Hunter Breen's hot. But in their last 6 games, the Royals ranked 4th in MLB at ERA at 2.57.
Pitching continues to be good there, yeah.
And finally, my last point before we hop off today. Did you see the ending of the Texas-San Francisco game?
Yeah, that was insane.
That was very little. Tough series loss for the Rangers.
I mean, you got to be kicking yourself if you're a Rangers fan after that one.
Yeah, tough for Bruce Bochy and the squad. But, I mean, they do have now a series against Sacramento starting tonight in Texas. So
hopefully, I mean, I think the A's are 14-14, exactly 500.
Yeah.
I can't believe Seattle's in first place in that division right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're hot. I mean, it's just the bats. Kyle Raleigh is hitting nukes for you. I mean, I'll be tuning in to this week, Mets, Arizona tomorrow, starting in New York. That'll be a really good series. Yankees, Orioles, and then Tigers, Astros on. Braves should get right versus the Rockies. Giants, Padres tomorrow, and Red Sox, Jays. So that's for the front part of the week.
Man, the Rockies have a chance to finish with the worst record of all time because they're in a great division. They're just terrible. I mean, when I'm looking right now, the Yankees play the Rockies at the end of May. I can't wait because feels like 3 wins.
Where is it? Where is it? Is it
Colorado? It's in Colorado. Yeah, Aaron Judge in Colorado will be fun.
Nothing like that. Oh, you know a statistic I just saw? J.C. Escara is the oldest Yankee since Clay Bellinger to hit his first career home run last night.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
So from Uber driver to hitting nukes in Yankee Stadium on a Sunday night.
You'll have to see it.
Hey, I should start driving Uber. Maybe I could become a MLB catcher at 30. So
direct correlation right there. Uber driver, MLB player. 1-to-1.
All right, then. Is that anything else for the week?
That is it. Fun week ahead. We'll be back on Thursday morning, recapping Yankees, recapping some of these early series this week. And yeah, that's it.
There we go.
All righty. Luis, thanks as always. Thank you guys for listening. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, on Spotify as well. Hope you guys have a great week. Like I said, we'll be back on Thursday morning. Until then, we'll catch you next time. Peace out.